Mark Menendez here with you, and I'm stuck in my garage. It's cold, big major front blowing through as we're filming this right now. I was actually supposed to go on the lake today, but I'm a chicken and it's cold and it's nasty. So we're going to talk a little bit about the bait I would have been using as I had success on it yesterday, and that's a jerkbait, and how a jerkbait factors into my wintertime fishing, and what jerkbait do I use most of the time when I do decide to go. A jerkbait is an interesting bait. It's the most powerful bait in my tackle box. It will actually pull fish to it. Think about all the techniques we have: flipping, pitching, skipping, under docks, under trees, into this and into that. We go after the bass. We have to go to them in the cover they're living in. But a jerkbait, in open water, off of a break line or off of a point, we jerk that thing, the fish sees it, he moves up, the jerk it again, he gets closer, we jerk it again, he eats the bait. We pull that fish, so it has magnetism. And it catches magnum fish this time of the year because it's an easy bite for those fish to get. There are a couple things about a jerkbait that are very important to me in cold water. One is the attitude of the bait. Do I want a bait that sits horizontal in the water, or do I want one in a head down position? The head down position is a non-natural position in the atmosphere. The fish sees this and he knows that fish is in trouble. You know, one of the things I like to do with that thing, and I think about this a little bit, is if I start acting all crazy, that's non-natural. But I just got your attention, didn't I? So when that jerkbait is in a head-down position, being non-natural, that's the first thing the bass sees, that's non-natural, that is a defensive position for that bait fish, or that's an easy meal, and he goes to it. So that's why I like that. It's something different in that fish's environment, such that he'll see it and go to it. So I also want the biggest jerkbait I can find. The biggest jerkbait I can use is one I want to catch bigger fish. Cold water has a bigger effect on smaller fish than the old big ones. Big ones still move around, they still hunt, they're still agile, but it kind of shuts down your smaller bass. That's why you don't catch too many of these cold water situations. So you might as well throw a big bait. And a gizzard shad, threadfin and gizzard shad, are very temperature sensitive. As we move on through the winter, we're December now, as we get to January, February, and water temperatures get really cold, we have a shad die-off in most lakes come February and March because they are very temperature sensitive. This makes that work perfectly. So I've got a couple here I want to show you. I'm very fond of both of these baits. You can see this bait right here. This is a Strike King 300 series with a medium lip, and it's beat up. I mean, this one has caught them. This is an IU color, and it is a fantastic bait. This 300 series is one that I fish in 5 to 6 feet of water with 8-pound Seaguar Invisex is what I throw with it most of the time this time of year. What I use that lighter line for is the lighter the line you use on a build bait, crankbait, jerkbait, the deeper I can get it and the more natural the action is. So if I can get that bait closer to the target bottom, the bottom level in which is the target, that's less distance that fish has to move, and you're more successful at that time. 8-pound Seaguar line, it's strong as all get out. We're fishing out over rocks, we're fishing out over deep drops, vertical banks, so there's really nothing, no cover in the way to get hung up with 8, and fish in 45-degree water or less, they really don't fight hard. So 8-pound line is the go-to. This bait has that little bit of a head down, it's got a good loud rattle in it, and it naturally suspends very well. I don't have to alter this bait very much. If I do alter it, I change my hooks. I change to round bend Gamakatsu number 4s on most of my jerkbaits, because a jerkbait, even suspending jerkbait, is a bait in which the bass slash at. They'll run up there and hit it, or they'll run up there and slash at it, and one of these chemically sharpened conical shaped point hooks will get him just a little bit. A lot of times you'll get them in the corner of the mouth, and then when they turn and go back down, then you got them like this, and the Gamakatsu catches me a lot more fish just because it's so sharp. Down like this, in the water column, this, like I said, 6 to 7 feet is about as deep as I can get one of these with that 8-pound line, and that's the 300 series. The bait that was introduced a couple of years ago is the 300 deep, and I love this bait because I get it, even with 12-pound line, I can get it 8 to 9 to 10. If If I drop this down on 8-pound line, doggone, I'm in that 12-foot range sometimes on a long cast. And that's a big difference. You only think a foot or two is a difference, but that may be the difference before that fish can react to. This bait is in that head down position. This one's a sexy shad, and I do love a white-bellied jerkbait. I use a white-bellied bait on days that it's overcast. When I take this lure and flash it like that, you can see the pulse of that color. That pulse of white is what gets that fish's attention. Head down, bigger than average profile on the bait, jerkbait central, getting it down in that 9 to 10 foot range. Clear days where you don't have much sky, this IU, this chrome bait will outflash. You can see how much flash it's got. I want chromes on bright days, whites on dark days. And that gets me to the retrieve. Here's the rod and reel that I was successful with yesterday. It's a Lew's jerkbait rod, Lew's TI reel, light line here. This one is a summer sexy shad color. And I was yesterday using, I've cast it out, I'll reel it down with the 300, the deeper version, get it down to its depth, stop. And I start with about a 3-second pause. Jerk, jerk, pause. 1001, 1002, 1003. Yesterday water temperature was between 44 and 46 degrees, and that 3-second pause was enough for the fish to get the bait. As we get colder or we have diminished clarity, my pause will get longer. A lot of times my pause may be 15 seconds, 20 seconds. That's a long time to be paused with a jerkbait. Jerk, jerk, pause. So I sit down a lot because I'm a heck of a lot more patient person when I'm fishing. So I'll sit down on my seat and then I can make that pause so much longer. I won my first national event with a jerkbait years ago on Pickwick and Wilson's Lake, and the pause was 15 seconds. There were other guys in the same area fishing the same type of structure I was, but that long pause, allowing that fish to eyeball that bait longer, allowed me to win that tournament by over 7 pounds. Both smallmouth, largemouth were in my creel, and big ones at that. But a jerkbait, again, pulls those fish to you. It's the only bait I know that has magnetism. Pulls it to you, and they can eyeball it and come get it. Light colors, chrome colors on light days, white colors on dark days. Being very patient with light line will get you those bites you need in the wintertime as we move forward to spring when a jerkbait becomes a different animal at that time. But for winter fishing, this is the deal.